Welcome viewers to this YouTube video. Today we want to look at Form 1 revision questions in mathematics, and the first topic is integers. We want to look at integers, and this is part 1 where we look at how to evaluate certain fractions through applying the basic concept of bod mass. As you can see in this particular question, we are being asked evaluate this particular number. You can see there is division, there is addition, there is multiplication, there is subtraction, and we want to use the concept of bod mass in order to compute this number without actually using a calculator. So there is the numerator. We want to first deal with the numerator separately and the denominator separately, and then we combine the answers. So you write the numerator as it is, negative 8 divided by 2 plus 12 times 9 minus 4 times 6, as you can see, minus 6. Then you apply the concept of bod mass. You apply the concept of bod mass. You apply the concept of bod mass. You start with brackets, as you can see in this particular question. In the numerator, there is no brackets. Then you go to off. There is no off. Then you go to division. We have negative 8 divided by 2, which is negative 4. Then the rest of the numbers, you write it as they were, which is plus 12 times 9 minus 4 times 6. I hope we are still following. Then there is the next one is multiplication. There is 12 times 9 and 4 times 6. You compute them. 12 times 9 is 108. You write 108 under that. And then minus 4 times 6 is minus 24. Then minus 4, you write it as it was initially. And there is addition. You rearrange the numbers to begin with addition. So we shall begin with 108 minus 24 minus 4, which in other words is just 108 minus 28. And you'll find the value of the numerator is 80. You label that as star. Then you go to the denominator, which is 56 divided by 7 times 2. Apply the same concept of bod mass. As you can see, we only have division and multiplication. So division comes first. You take 56 divided by 7, which is actually 8. Then you multiply it by 2, which gives you the value of the denominator, which is 16. You label it as 2 stars. Then you combine the two values, the numerator over the denominator. The numerator is 80, the denominator is 16, which when you divide 80 by 16, you should get 5. Hence our answer is 5. We have another example that is here. Still applying the concept of bod mass. As you can see on your screens, it is evaluate 28 minus open bracket minus 18 over minus 2 on the left side of the subtraction sign. Then there is 15 minus 2 bracket minus 6 over 3 that is on the right hand side of the main sign, which is the subtraction. And we are saying in this particular case, you compute the two differently, separately, but apply the same concept of bod mass on both sides. You start with the left side, and on the left side you write it as it was, 28 minus, open the brackets, minus 18, close the bracket, over minus 2. As you can see on the numerator part, there are two negative signs. Here, as we all know, it is negative sign times a negative sign will give you a positive sign. Hence here it shall be 28 plus 18 because you would have opened the bracket that is here, then over minus 2. Then we are saying when you add the numerator part, 28 plus 18, it should give you 46, all of them minus 2 as it was. When you divide the 2, it will give you a negative value because of the negative sign that is in the denominator. And you will discover that when you multiply 2 by 23, it will give you 46. Hence, the value of the numbers on the left hand side of the subtraction is minus 23. You go to the right side of the subtraction sign, you write it as it was, and as you can see here, there are two negative signs, but we want to open the brackets, so we say negative times negative will give us a positive number. Hence 15 minus times minus 2, it will give you positive 2, then into bracket minus 6, then you go to off, there is off between 2 and the brackets of minus 6, and when you multiply that, it will give you minus 12. Then there is 15 plus into bracket minus 12 all over 3. Then you apply the BODMAS, still apply the BODMAS, but in this particular case it is just direct. 15 minus 12 is 3, and the denominator is 3. When you divide 3 by 3, it will give you 1. Hence, when you combine the 2 with the main sign that was negative, it will be minus 23 minus 1, which will give you minus 24 as the final answer. I hope it is clear. We look at our third example, viewers, and the question is, without using a calculator, evaluate this particular number over this particular number. In this particular case, you still apply the BODMAS, and we are saying that you first deal with the numerator, which is like that, and the denominator, which is like that, and then you combine the two to give you your final answer. And in this particular case, we have bar 2, and in integers bar 2 is just minus 2, and here you apply the concept of BODMAS. You start with the brackets. As you can see, there is the brackets, 5 plus 3, which will give you 8. The rest of the numbers, you rewrite them as they were. Then you go to off. There is off sign between negative 2 and 8, which will give you minus 16. Then the rest you write as they were. Then you go to division. There is division between negative 9 and 3, which will give you minus 3. Then there is addition. You rearrange. You start with addition, 5 minus 16 minus 3. Then you go to subtraction, which is 5 minus 19, which will give you a negative value, which is negative 14, and that is the value of our numerator. Then you go to our denominator. As I've said, in integers, bar 3 is just negative 3 times negative 5 plus negative 2 times 4. Apply the same concept of BODMAS. There is no bracket, there is no off, there is no division, but there is multiplication. So minus 3 times minus 5. Of course, in this particular case, negative times negative sign will give you positive. Then 3 times 5 is 15. Then you add minus 2 times 4. It will be minus 8. 15 minus 8 is simply 7. And that is the value of our denominator. You label it as 2 stars. Then numerator of our denominator, you bring the two values, the two answers together, this and this. Together it will be minus 14 over 7, which is minus 2, and that is our final answer. Look at our fourth example. Still evaluate this particular number using the concept of BODMAS, and we are saying you start with the numerator, do it separately, it will give you a figure. You apply the concept of BODMAS on the denominator, it will give you an answer. Then you combine the two, which will also lead to now the final answer. But you remember, viewers, that you are to apply the concept of BODMAS in each step. As you start, you check whether there's brackets, there's off, there's division, there's multiplication, addition, or subtraction. Like in our case, in the numerator, we can see that there is one bracket which we open here. Negative times negative sign is simply positive. Then you rewrite the rest of the numbers as they were. Then there's division, there's off, there is no off. Then there's division. You check this division between negative 12 and negative 3. You divide the two. Negative divided by negative is simply positive. Then 12 divided by 3 is simply 4. Rewrite the numbers as they were. Then multiplication, 4 times 4 is 16 plus 20. It will give you 36 as the value of our numerator. Then you go to denominator, negative 6 times 6 divided by 3 plus minus 6, close the bracket. Then you'll find out that negative 6, when you apply the concept of BODMAS, first of all, you deal with the brackets. You can see there's a different sign outside the bracket and inside the bracket. You take care of that by actually identifying this statement that positive sign times negative sign is actually negative sign. You write it negative 6. Then the rest of the numbers, you rewrite them as they were. Minus 6 times 6 divided by 3 minus 6. Then you go to division. 6 divided by 3 is 2. You rewrite the rest of the numbers as they were. Multiplication, minus 6 times 2 minus 12 minus 6. Denominator, you'll find that negative and another negative with just negative. Then you add these two, it will give you 18. Then you combine the two, that is 6 over minus 18, which is simply 2 as the final answer. We look at our final example of today's video, which is actually part 1 of integers, and is saying without using a calculator, a value 8, negative 8 plus into bracket minus 5 times minus 8 minus minus 6 over minus 3 plus minus 8 divided by 2 times 4. You still apply the concept of BODMAS. And you work out the numerator separately, the denominator separately. Then you combine the two values. 8 will give you the final answer. And in this particular question, you must note the following, that negative sign times negative sign will give you a positive sign. Positive sign times positive sign will give you a positive sign. Negative sign times a positive sign will give you a negative sign. Thank you for watching these videos. Kindly subscribe, like and share so that you will be notified the next video, which is part 2 of integers.